Good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, June 4th, 2020. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. One thing you'll notice here is the previous session here finished very bullishly here, pushed through the previous month's high price over the last couple of days and closed higher. This close puts us very close, or that high puts us very close, or right at that lower high that developed here. After the initial impulse move down, we got to bounce back to the midpoint of that initial move, and then we floored it to the downside here before hitting 2200 and bouncing from there. And now we've come all the way back to that point right there, and already seeing a pullback here today below now the previous session's midpoint. That's a very important level to watch. It's basically the 3101.75s. That's a very important zone there. Again, failure to hold that level could open up a return back to the previous session's low. That low is 30.74 but overall, this market remains bullish. So even if we do come out here and take out that low, it could be an opportunity for bulls to trap the bears and return it back up until proven otherwise. This PIMA trigger zone has been very bullish. Any push inside it has been bought. And even lately we haven't even gotten to it because the market's been strong. However, we are bumping up against major overhead resistance, and we'll see how the market plays off this midpoint here today. A failure to hold above that zone can open up a previous low again. So let's take a look here now at the NQ. With the NQ here, we had a very narrow range in the previous session. Let's quantify that range here by bringing this 5 down to a 1, clicking OK, and we'll get a reading here for this one. You'll see right down here, very compressed range there. That range was very narrow compared to normal, and for the most part it suggests that we could be building energy for a pretty significant move. The last time we had a range that small was back here on that day right there. If you bring it across, those two are the smallest days that we've seen this year. And when you have a narrow range that's developed like that at the highs after a significant move, it could be bringing late longs to the market before we see a potential reversal again of some magnitude. Maybe not all the way back here. Maybe it only comes back to the 200 and 8400, the middle of the range. Maybe we only get a 2 or 3 day pullback and then it comes right back higher. But this is a zone right now that we could begin to see some sort of pullback here. Although this market remains very bullish, we got to watch for signs of failure up here. All right, let's take a look now at crude oil. Crude oil is off by 1.5% already today. We saw in the previous session price had rallied right up to 38s and rejected all the way back to 36s very quickly. It had a very volatile session throughout the day where it traded back and forth, back and forth. Right now, we're trading a range of just 29% of average. So we're at 70 ticks of range. It's been averaging $2.40 on both a 5-day and 10-day average basis. And right now, again, above the previous month's high and close price, developing a very narrow range here. Does that lead to some sort of pullback before we perhaps try to bounce again toward 40? So right now, very narrow range here after yesterday's tail on both sides of the range. This market, again, like the ES and NQ, remain very bullish, and pullbacks into the PIMA trigger zone has been bought. 8 period has been bought, 8 period bought. So even if we do pull back, it could be, again, another buying opportunity for a continuation higher. All right, let's take a look now, lastly, at gold futures. This one's up 1% right now after testing the 1700 level and bouncing today's low. So far, at least, comes in at 1698.90. So again, prices below 1700 continue to be defended here in the near term. Yesterday I mentioned this box right here. I continue to mention this box. It continues to develop above the key range high here, and again, when you develop above a key range high like that and can't get going higher and pay those late bulls, at some point the stops come out and this thing could drop. So on this pullback right now, after yesterday's drop, What are we going to see here at about 1725 or so? Are we going to see a failure to get above that zone? That right there is going to be the bottom of the previous month's midpoint. That's again a very important level, 1725, 1726. And if price can't get above there, perhaps this pullback is a selling opportunity for a continuation toward the previous month's low. Again, 1700 is going to be very, very important here. Eventually, a failure easily opens up a return back toward 1575 to 1580. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.